Say goodbye to that spreadsheet guy. In this video, we're going to be replacing that spreadsheet guy in your business, in your personal life with Claude Cowork. If you watch till the end, I'll show you exactly how you can connect up Claude Cowork to important integrations in your Claude desktop setup once you have the integrations connected. And by the way, this is just personally how I did it, so I'll kind of show you kind of how I structured it out, because at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this thing is to be able to connect the necessary integrations, softwares, pull in all the information, schedule out a reminder every week, every bi-weekly, every month, whatever that fits your needs when you need the data present, and then throw all that stuff up into a spreadsheet in, say, Google Sheets. But also too, if you have integrations and connections into something else, feel free to connect it into that, because that works just as well. Hey, if your Claude has access into Vercel or some other deployment app where, say, you can deploy websites, dashboards, apps, you can just make this a full-blown app. I just like to keep it simple with a dashboard inside Google Sheets, but whatever works for you, that's also cool too. You know what I mean? This is all personalized, so you can get creative with it. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll show you exactly how you can pretty much get this integrated, show you the master prompt, show you what I did to have a master dashboard of various different integrations pulling in different information, obviously with demo data, and then from there you'll be off to the races with your own setup. So let's get right into the computer. Let's get right to it, how to do this. All right, obviously if you don't have a Claude subscription, you're gonna need a Claude subscription. What we're gonna be working with is Claude Cowork, one of the best productivity tools out there right now. It can get things done. If you don't know what Claude Cowork is, just a short TLDR, it is more than just Claude Chat. It is more than Claude Code. Pretty much what Claude Cowork can do is be your personal task assistant to get things done. You can give it access to folders, to directories, your whole entire computer. It can open up your computer. It can go visit websites. It can go do things on behalf of you. You can prompt it. You can schedule things on behalf of you, like reports to be debriefed to you, or say special scheduled jobs. And this all really widely depends based on your integrations and setup. If you just purely use Claude Desktop itself, it's not going to be as powerful as, say, you add some connectors, maybe some sort of skills on top of that to really make your workflow extremely powerful. So the goal here basically is just so you have some understanding and context about my thinking process and how I went through this in order to create this for myself. The way this all pretty much works is, say, hey, I'm running meta ads. I'm getting calls booked for this offer I'm running. I'm also getting sales, and the thing is, like, how can I make sense of all this data? What about people who are booking? What about people that are no-showing? What about any other information that I'm currently dealing and processing with, and how to make sense of all this? You know what I mean? Because some stuff is nuanced, some stuff isn't. Some marketing and software tools online can do that. Like, let's say I'm in the ads manager. I can see all the data there, but can I make sense of it with my actual Calendly booked calls? Probably not. What about actual sales that have been logged and attributed into, say, Stripe, whereas, say, maybe Meta might be off of it, you know what I mean? Or any of these platforms you're integrating into may be slightly off. So you're getting like a real true source of truth here. And then from here, think about it. If you pretty much have all the information at your disposal, you can set up jobs to get this thing cranking out this information, saying, hey, there's an update ready for you to pretty much just download it and then just toss it into the Google Sheets, or maybe even updates automatically. Even better. So you'll have these jobs running concurrently with your current flows without you having to go do this manually. In this case, it's manual, it's not fully built out, but you can reach and aspire to that point. I mean, literally you can just prompt the AI and it'll do all these things. So that's kind of like the context in my thinking process. I was just trying to think of different things I can piece together to have this one unified dashboard. Now, once again, I'm going to show you a demo dashboard in the video, and it's not the legit thing that I personally use on internal ops, because that is obviously sensitive information. But the way the process here works is I export a CSV file from my ad platform, in this case Meta. I will literally just go to Meta. I will, on the top right here, I will get a CSV, download it to my computer. Once I have the CSV, I now have a source of information. I know I kind of like ran down this thing here, but before you want to like prompt the AI to do anything, you want to connect your API sources. So I'll show you in just a sec. And then you want to set up a schedule at the end. So first things first, connect your data. So if you don't have Claude Desktop open already, open that right now. I already have this massive prompt here. So if you're looking for a prompt similar to this to do something similar for you, you can find it in the description. But the way it is, you fill out your basic information. What's your objective here? What's the sales process? What's the process like? What kind of integrations are you needing? What are you providing to the AI? What's the outcome you're looking for? You know what I mean? If it doesn't have access to your products, you want to mention the pricing here, but literally I don't need to mention all that. All we have to do is just add some connectors, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So on the sidebar here, there is this tab called Customize. We're in Customize right now, and there's two things, skills and connectors. We want to go to connectors, and then what you want to do is you want to add specific connectors to your workflow. So in this case, if you go to Browse Connectors, you can find all various different tools and capabilities that you can enable and arm your Claude with. So if you don't know what a tool is basically a connection, pretty much like an API connection to any other third-party software. So if you're using something like Linear, if you're using something like Figma, if you're using something like Notion, the moment you add this connection, the moment you add a connection to say Google Calendar or Calendly, your AI can now access the Calendly, okay? And you can go even deeper into that if say you want to build a very specific niche skill for Calendly in terms of like, okay, what am I actually accessing? What am I doing here? What's the whole point of using this? Otherwise, it's just gonna be kind of random and you're kind of like offing it with the prompt, and it could be a hit or miss with how it uses it. But if you want something very systemized and specific, you're gonna want to create a skill for that prompt. So I already have, say, Calendly. I already have Calendly set up. They recently just added this, so shout out to them. I added Stripe. You're gonna want to add this one because when you add it, you're gonna have to fetch your API key from the Stripe dashboard. Now, and then when you enable it and you configure it, it's gonna ask for your API key here under configure. You're gonna want to configure that. If you are not sure whether or not you're using this Stripe or another Stripe integration, because they have two, you're just gonna want to pick this one right here. And pretty much it shows you all the tools and the access what this thing can do when you add the connector. So I added that, and hopefully someday they add Google Sheets, because right now they have Drive, but right now the only thing this can do is search your Drive and fetch information. It can't really do anything with Google Sheets, so hopefully someday maybe Google Sheets could be added up into this connectors area. But once you go back here to Claude Cowork and you fill out the information and you add your prompt, you add the CSV file, you send it, it's gonna plump out the spreadsheet, and I'll show you exactly how that looks right now. So I downloaded it, and this is something how you can have completely, totally automated every single month, right? Now, obviously it's not the most prettiest things because this is Google Sheets at the end of the day, but think about it. If you're doing thousands of rows, if you're doing hundreds of rows, if there's hundreds and thousands of different data points that is taking one person to do, that has taken one person to do it in a week, you could have this literally done in a matter of minutes with Claude Cowork. You just literally feed it the information, the CSV file, the data, any sort of access, and it'll pull up a master dashboard. You can get more custom with it and literally just prompt it, be like, hey, I want these specific metrics, what's happening this month, what's happening last month, what's the goal versus what's currently actually happening, and then what's the status. You can also show you how many bookings you're getting, active, no show, based on if you connected your calendar and you're marking people as shows and no shows properly. Everything's gonna be accurate here. It can also even hook up into your Google Calendar. I forgot to mention, in Claude Cowork, I also integrated my calendar, so when it actually looks at my calendar, it can see the events that occurred, and then it can actually see, okay, this was actually booked, this didn't book, this was canceled, it was removed, blah, blah, blah. So it can kind of cross-check itself. If, say, you were using a tool like Granola or Fathom, I believe it is, or any of these other like Fireflies, note-taking transcript tools, you can also add that here where you feed the transcripts and you give Claude Cowork access to the folder where you hold the transcript information, or maybe there's a connector. Like for instance here, where to work, if you select the folder of where all the transcripts live and everything like that, it'll have context all this stuff and also source and do something about that information. If you don't know what this thing can do with that information, you might as well just ask and be like, hey, I'm giving you all this information. What can you do with this? Can you do anything in my dashboard, or is there any sort of information we can extract from this? Also, here's some sample metadata. So let's say you're running a bunch of campaigns and you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm getting all these calls, I'm pretty much spending this much, I'm getting all these impressions. So now it's like you can pretty much just have this all here by just literally feeding it raw information from any tools that are actually collecting data from your backend operations, and then you can have this thing custom built. So you don't really need a $200 say ad tracking platform or any of these other like ad tracking or just metric tracking platforms that are charging you a ton of money, where you can pretty much just do this all manually with Claude Cowork if you're looking to save money, or even just like remove an entire person if they're just working in Sheets. You know what I mean? I literally replaced my whole entire bookkeeper with Claude Cowork. It's absolutely crazy. but you can do even more creative things with it. So if you don't want to like look through all these different dashboards and you want a simple source, it can all literally live here. It also created me this how to use thing. I personally find this redundant. I honestly don't need it, but you can get creative with this, you know what I mean? And then every single month you can set this thing to have jobs to look at it and do something about it. Also, I forgot to mention, but this prompt also tells you, or tells the AI to build a skill. So anytime you're doing this on a recurring basis, what happens here is that you create a skill for the specific workflow that you name, and now you have a skill inside of Claude. So here's a skill I made on just YouTube thumbnails I've been experimenting with. But skills, once again, it just tells you how to do specific things, prompts, using image generations, whatever. If you want something to be very consistent, I have a skill here for that dashboard thing I created myself. So I'll just be using that every single time. Now, how do you actually schedule this thing? So here we're in schedule tasks, we're in Cowork. On the side here, there's going to be a section called scheduled. You're literally just going to want to click it. You're going to want to set a new task. And from here, what you want to do is to name the task. So if you need monthly or weekly reports, you would just pretty much name it whatever you want these briefings to be called, what the description is, what the prompt is, and then the frequency here, okay? Once you set the frequency, you're gonna wanna press save. But before you all do all that, you wanna press the prompt here. And here's where you wanna be very descriptive and precise. And if anything, you could just literally ask Claude for the prompt you want. So every time there's a wake session on the scheduled time, it just does exactly what you want. Now, the prompt here, you wanna mention the skill, what you're doing, what the context is, and how we did this last time. You can also even reference the original chat where you created all this stuff, so when it wakes up and does the job, it does it exactly for what you're looking for. But yeah, you got this scheduled feature here. You can only do this when, say, your computer is on and activated. Otherwise, I think they just recently added this feature where you can keep your computer active when the scheduled tasks need to be run. Because if your computer is fully shut off, then this thing's not going to run. It needs to use your computer's resources or at least be on, which is the only trade-off. So going back to our little fancy slideshow here, pretty much it creates the dashboard, but once again, you can specify to what your needs are, set it on autopilot. Once you get the scheduling up, and what you get is the source of truth, up to date, scheduled, always sourcing real information from your connectors. You don't need to do anything with like OpenClaw. You don't need to do anything with any of these other AI agents. If you have a Claude subscription and you're just trying to use Cowork or anything from Claude Desktop, you can literally just have it created there for you. This is just my setup. You can customize it to your own needs. You can get fancy with it with like Google Analytics, Shopify, QuickBooks, anything else you can think of. You know what I mean? Now you can pretty much replace anything in your operations, business, or whatever. That'll be all for the video. If you've liked and found this video useful, subscribe. I also have a newsletter where I drop information like this about AI in my newsletter, so check that out. It's on my website. It's for free. If you found this video really valuable, once again, like, comment what you want to see more of, and subscribe, because I'm uploading every single day and you're not going to want to miss what I talk about. So see you in the next one.